This is section 3.3. This is part 5. We are continuing to find the slopes of these two lines that we're given and to decide whether they are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. So, same as the problem above, we're going to rearrange these things so that they fit this pattern and we will be able to read off their slopes. So, for this problem, this equation, we want to get the y by itself. So I need to move the 3x over to the right-hand side. So I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. And that gives me negative 2y is equal to negative 3x plus 6. Now I want y completely by itself, so I'm going to divide everything by a negative 2. And now let's simplify this. Y is equal to negative 3 over negative 2. That's a double negative, so we cross those all out, or you do the division and you get a positive answer. So this is 3 halves x, and 6 divided by negative 2 is negative 3. So what is my slope of the first line? It is 3 halves. Okay. So let's do the same thing here. I want the y by itself, so I need to move this over to here. I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. That gives me 3y is equal to negative 2x plus 3. Now let's divide everything by a 3. And then simplify. Y is equal to, that's a negative divided by a positive, so it's negative 2/3 x plus, because it's two positives, 3 divided by 3 is 1. So this slope is negative 3 halves. Or negative 2/3, sorry. I misspoke there big time. Okay. So now let's compare these two and try to figure out if we have parallel lines, perpendicular, or neither. Parallel lines have the same slope. These are not the same. Okay, so it's not parallel. Perpendicular lines have slopes with opposite signs, which we do, and they also need to be reciprocals, and these are. So that means that these two lines are perpendicular. Okay, just a note there so you can remember how we decided that. Okay, one more problem. And this is still the same type of problem. We want to know if these are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. So find each slope. We want y by itself. So here I want to move the 5x over to the right. Notice how on many of these we're doing the same algebra steps. It really is repetitive. Once you've got this down, you're always going to have it down. So here, I need to subtract 5x from both sides. That gives me negative 3y is equal to negative 5x plus 2. Now, to get y alone, I need to divide everything by a negative 3. So I end up with y is equal to, that's a double negative, so it's positive. 5 over 3 is in lowest terms. 2 divided by negative 3, that's going to be minus 2/3. So my slope for this first line is going to be 5/3. Okay. So here. Now I want to get y by itself, so I need to move the 3x over to the right. So I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. And I get negative 5y is equal to negative 3x minus 8. And now divide everything by a negative 5. And I get y is equal to -3 over -5 is 3/5 x. That's 2 negatives plus 8/5. And this slope is 3/5. Okay, so now let's compare these. For these two lines to be parallel, I need to have exactly the same slope, and I don't. So it's not parallel. To be perpendicular, I need reciprocals, and they are reciprocals, but I also need to have opposite signs, and both of these are positives. So these two lines, they're not parallel, they're not perpendicular, these are neither. And remember, that means that they cross, but they do not cross in a right angle.